This is such a profound, right to the point of the human, of being given a human incarnation, because it's the essence of the work of the spiritual path, but because the question of the son is being raised, it takes it to, I think, the most difficult place for most people. The issue is the same. It's always the same. Every issue, every experience that comes to us in life, every experience, we say this all the time, comes as a gift from God. And we can remember that when it's something small happens, we don't like it, whatever it is, it's easier to say, okay, let me see what's in this for me. And then those challenges to truth, they're really challenges to truth, because truth is one and eternal. It doesn't change. We say that every Sunday because it's the truth. So there's no exception ever. But what happens to us as we grow, move forward, make progress on the spiritual path is that the challenges become greater. And I'm not sure that I can think of a greater challenge than when our child is in trouble. I just don't know that, for most people in the world, when your child's struggling, to separate yourself from that. I've just started to read Gyan Dev's book. I forget the name of it, but his explanation of the Mahabharata. And it's fun and it's interesting. And I said to Lakshmi the other day, I'll never remember any of it. There's too many characters, you remember a story or two. But it's so uplifting and delightful to read. But it is fascinating how many stories, each one has a spiritual meaning. Every single character, relationship, everything is there for a reason for us. And it's amazing how many of them are around children. I was noticing that. So it's no small thing, but I'll say two things. Number one, many, many parents, mothers in particular, but I'll just say parents, allow themselves to become hysterical in a way over minor things. Really, things that are minor. My child has a headache, or, I don't want to just share examples because I don't want to be condescending here. I understand that it can be painful, but the reaction's the same whether it's a cancer, a real life-threatening experience, or some other problem. A test in school or a physical problem that's minor. And I've seen that a lot. I'll share this just because no, I won't share it, never mind. It was about somebody, I don't want to run any risks here, because I don't feel judgmental about it. But in certain situations, the knee-jerk reaction is the same, whether it's a little thing or a big thing. So I would say start there. I would say ask yourself, how serious is this problem, really? And try and first get a little logical about it. Because I do think, even though we'll never solve the problem in our logical minds, sometimes we can say to ourselves, wait. I lost a set of keys. my house and everything in it didn't just burn to ashes. It's different. It's a different challenge to our spiritual understanding. So watching what so many of these people in the world are going through right now, I mean, listening to the news and hearing of the devastation and now more death and so many animals, it's a precious part of your family that have been killed or lost. These are huge challenges that even people who are steeped in a spiritual understanding would take at least a moment, a day, a week, or something to settle themselves. But so first ask yourself, just stop. Wait a minute, what is actually happening? And I would say when it's small, I know it doesn't feel small, but if it's a small social problem, medical problem, whatever it is, that it's not actually going to run the risk of taking your child or ultimately changing their life forever, then just say to yourself, stop it. And I know that sounds silly because you think if that would work, you've already tried it. But I'm saying it out loud so that you can hear it again. Get control of yourself wherever the question's coming from. And immediately do something. In those moments, sometimes prayer and meditation don't work because they require you to empty your mind. But music can work. Chanting can work. Something that will open your heart to the presence of God's love and might help you remember that you think it's your child, but that child is being watched over by God, just as you're being watched over by God. It's all the same. Everything is in God's hands. So to not try and talk yourself into that, because who's ever asking this question, and many others have probably already tried that rational approach, but get control of yourself and then do something. Go out with friends who are spiritually uplifted. Satsang is a great way to remind ourselves. That's what I'm saying about the pilgrimage. Make sure that the satsang is of a higher level. Just get away from the situation, not so that you can talk about it more, but so that you can feel God's love and God's presence. So, and I'm saying it because the way the question's being asked, it's not being asked like, I really want to live these teachings, but my child has a life-threatening disease, and it's taking me somewhere else. It's saying, the question seems to be saying there's much more of an emotional and neurotic, and I don't mean neurotic in a condescending way because we're all neurotic to some degree. It's part of the human condition. But the question's being asked like that, like it's more neurotic, like every little thing. If it's my son, if it's anything else, I can handle it, but not when it's my son. Then that's precisely where, or your child, I can't remember what it said, but child, son, it said son, yeah. That's precisely where your next possibility of huge spiritual growth is. But you need to find ways to get yourself out of that situation. That's when you come to a kirtan or just do something that's beyond mind. Because you remember what Master said, of course, you can't solve the problem at the level that it's being created. So these are very often problems of the minds. And again, much more often, mothers. And I will say this, and I'll say it out loud, though I might get into trouble for it. Indian women even have more of a tendency to do this than Western women. It's just, it's a culture. Not that Western women don't love their children and care about their children. They just have a little more, several degrees of separation somehow. So it's a beautiful opportunity. That's what I would say, to grow spiritually. But it's the same as every problem, difficult situation that we're handed with. It's just has so much more control of the heart. And remember, this is the last meaningful place energetically, not really the last, but a very meaningful place for spiritual growth. We bring energy up and we get it to the heart, and then the big decision comes. Whether it's about our child, whether it's about pain we've suffered in life, whatever it is, the question, can I direct that energy up here, or is it going to go out in human love, human issues, worry, fear? It's just all the same. So I hope that gives somebody some good suggestions.